Hello everyone, let me begin this video with an example. Consider this to be the year 1950. There is a very simple job, and the job is to dig a hole of diameter 10 meters. And there are 100 people required for digging this hole in some amount of time. Cut the scene, and you're in 2020. The same job is actually getting more complex. So the hole that is meant to be dug is of 100 meters, and the competition has increased multifold, and 10,000 people are competing for the same thing for a job. But the problem is, as time progressed from 1950 to 2020, the cost significantly reduced for the person who wanted to dig this hole because of machines. And this has been the story from 1750, that is the dawn of industrial revolution. Now I'm actually giving you numbers. I'm saying that a certain number of people are required, this the cost is this much. But how do you actually come up with these numbers? Only when you conduct surveys. And in this particular example, you have already seen how technology is taking away the number of people who are depending on certain kind of activity for their livelihood. Now with increasing technology, we also have to upskill our people. Otherwise what happens is, where 100 people were initially depending on them and the remuneration was X, in the year 2020, even without this adoption of technology, because of the competition, the salaries fell. We are only getting 10% of what we used to get previously. That is the classic case of agriculture. And with the advent of machines, even that has come down. So the employment that is created from this activity is just 5 people for manufacturing this machine and one operator who would be running this machine. So this entire example will explain you the scenario of unemployment in our country and the need for growth in science and technology and investing in human capital. Human capital means you are investing in their health, education and skills for working on their jobs. In order to make any policy decisions with respect to this unemployment scenario, there should be periodic surveys, and that is exactly what PLFS is trying to do. And this began in the year 2017. It is actually carried out by NSO. What is NSO? It is the Central Statistical Agency under the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. So one might question, why should we submit our data? Isn't there a right to privacy? To address this, there is a act which gives power to the government. That act is Statistical Services Act, and this was brought out in 1980. According to the power of the government, through this act, they can collect data, and this is for public welfare. So nobody can claim right to privacy in this. So NSO is given the responsibility for development of coming up with the statistical information, and it is the same organization that comes up with the statistical data for index of industrial production, CPI, and also something called National Indicator Framework for monitoring SDGs. The report is actually evaluated, or the survey for the progress of SDGs in various states is actually carried out by Niti Aayog. Then what is the role of Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation here? So Niti Aayog, like we've already discussed, monitors the progress. But progress of what? There should be certain parameters, right? And those parameters will actually be formulated by NSO. Like we have discussed, this periodic labor force survey began in 2017 itself. Does that mean the government did not carry out any surveys? That is not true. Before this PLFS, we have had something called employment unemployment surveys by NSSO. NSSO is the previous name of NSO. NSSO stands for National Sample Survey Office, and these surveys were carried out, and the report came out once in every 5 years. Now 5 years is too long a time for taking policy decisions. We need to have real time data, especially in the age of artificial intelligence and data sciences. So we have to move towards at least annual based surveys. So this PLFS is that annual survey. However, you should also note that this survey is brought out every quarter, or quarterly reports are submitted for urban areas, and for rural areas it is annual. So these are the points that you have to remember for prelims examination. Also, there are certain terminologies that you have to understand with respect to prelims exam. Labor force participation is one such example. Now, what is labor force? Imagine there is a population, let's say there are 100 people in our country, and within that group, each country defines what we know as working age. In India, that age is generally 15 to 64. So, the people who are aged between 15 to 64, they together constitute working age and they are called labor force. Now, within this, how many people are willing to work or willing to participate in productive activities? That a percentage is labor force participation rate. The latest report of PLFS is actually carried out from July 2019 to June 2020. So this includes even the pandemic period. So this survey says that there is all round improvement, and this includes labor force participation rate as well. This survey says that there is an increase in labor force participation rate, which is quite understandable given the pandemic. People are looking for work. So higher the number of people looking for work, higher is LFPR, and it is actually good for an economy provided we give them enough jobs. But this is not the entire picture. There is more to it. Let us understand. The second parameter is the worker population ratio. So worker population ratio is nothing but in the denominator, instead of just the labor force, we're taking the entire population and see how many number of people are employed in some productive activity. That is, how many number of people are working out of the entire population, and even this number has shown an upward trend. That is what the heading says. The next one is gender based unemployment, and it is just important to remember that PLFS claims that even this fell. So gender parity in jobless rate has also fallen. That is, more number of women and men are working now in the pandemic. Now comes the actual question that we are dealing with. What is unemployment rate? Now, when we're talking about unemployment, is it justified to take the entire population? Because this excludes people like children and old aged as well. So this is not a good parameter, and this leaves us with just labor force. Now, is it right to consider even those people who are not participating in labor force, who are willfully moving out, like say for example UPSC aspirants? That is not a right parameter. The real challenge for economy is to provide jobs for those who are looking at employment opportunities, and the state and the private sector is not in a position to give them any jobs. That is a real worrisome scenario. Now, therefore, unemployment rate means those who are available in the labor force and we are not able to give them jobs, that percentage is unemployment rate. So this latest LFPS says that even unemployment rate has come down. Let us also discuss briefly about the methodology followed for this particular survey. So here you have to know something called usual status and current weekly status. Usual status is generally when the activity status of a person, that is whether that person was working or not, in that usual status, the reference period is 365 days. Now let me explain more elaborately. So it's like the person who's carrying out the survey goes up to a person in rural area and asks whether this person has found work in the last 1 year or 365 days of the time period. If the person responds positively, then he is treated to be employed, or if he responds negatively, then he is treated to be unemployed. So that is the rural areas scenario for usual status. When we are talking about the current weekly status, the reference period is actually brought down to 7 days. The reason for this current weekly status is because in urban areas, it's not like there is a continuous employment for uneducated people. Sometimes they do construction work, they do some normal menial jobs. They might not find employment throughout the year. So to capture the data of such scenarios, current weekly status helps. Now, what does this methodology culminate into? Ultimately, they calculate labor force participation rate, unemployment rate, and worker population ratio, and this is for every 3 months. But in the case of rural areas, both in usual status, that is for a period of 365 days, and current weekly status for 7 days, it is done. For rural areas, once in a year is done in both usual status and CWS. But in urban areas, for current weekly status, it is done every 3 months. This is the important point that you have to know. So this is all you have to know about the periodic labor force survey. This methodology might be a bit confusing. Give it some more time. You just have to know that the reference period is 1 year for usual status, and current weekly status, as the name itself says, is 7 days. You go up to the person and ask whether you are employed for the last 1 week or not. So that is all you have to know about the periodic labor force survey and the issue of unemployment. How are we capturing unemployment in our economy? It is by PLFS. So just like in every other video, I am requesting again, if you find the content useful, please subscribe to the channel, and also you can join the Telegram channel. So you can find the content of newspapers on Telegram channel. You can search for Hindu highlights, and UPSC highlights is the name of the channel. This is the address of the channel, where you will see newspaper articles being highlighted like this with important information from different newspapers like Indian Express, Live Mint, etc. And you can see my picture in that. Just for identification purpose, I am putting this picture up. And like every other YouTuber, if you really like the content, please like, share, and subscribe. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching.